So it is fair to say that Riyad Mahrez has had another fantastic season with Manchester City, because coming to the end of the 2021 season, Mahrez has been part of a Manchester City team that has won yet another Carabao Cup, is set to win another Premier League, and Mahrez scored the 2 goals to get Manchester City into the club's first ever Champions League final. Mahrez has had a fantastic season, but how much do you guys actually know about the Algerian winger? And that's why, guys, in today's video, I'll be telling you the story of Riyad Mahrez, from his childhood, from the time he was living with Paul Pogba's brother, to becoming a serial Premier League winner. What is the story of Riyad Mahrez? But first, I want you guys to tell me in the comment section down below, do you think Riyad Mahrez will win the Champions League with Manchester City this season? Let me know. Let's get into his story. Now, although Mahrez does represent Algeria on the national stage, he was actually born 30 years ago in Sarcelles, France, to Algerian parents, which is exactly why, as a kid, many of his holidays were spent in Algeria. Now, one of the things that many people don't know about Mahrez is one of his closest friends growing up was current Monaco striker Wissam Ben Yedder, who, at the current time of recording, is the second top goal scorer in League One, after only Kylian Mbappe. But when it comes to finding an interest in football, Mahrez was actually influenced by his father, who used to play in Algeria when he was younger. But sadly for Mahrez and his family, when Mahrez was only 15 years old, his father passed away from a heart attack. And Mahrez has said that this was a huge turning point in his life, of him becoming more serious about what he wants to do and what he wants to become. And that is why in 2004, Riyad Mahrez joined his local football club, the AAS Sarcelles Academy, after unfortunately being turned away by various other clubs due to his slender build. But in order to compensate for his size, Riyad Mahrez was able to bring in attention from other clubs by developing his ball skills, something that he is still known for today. In 2009, Mahrez joined second division side Quimper, as the 18-year-old scored 2 goals in 22 appearances in his first season at the club. And while staying at the club, he stayed with Matthijs Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, who, although he didn't learn any dance moves from the family, was described by Matthijs Pogba as very sloppy and only lived off of takeaways. But just one season later, in 2010, Mahrez got some offers from some of the biggest clubs in the league, including offers from the likes of PSG and Marseille. Now, I'm not going to say that Mahrez would have developed the same, but can you imagine the PSG attack today if he ended up going? It would have been insane, but he was only offered to play for the youth team. Therefore, Mahrez decided to join Le Havre, where he initially started playing for the reserve team, but Mahrez went on to spend 3 more years playing for the senior team, playing 60 times for the club and scored 6 goals in League 2. And when he was at Le Havre, he also played along the likes of current Manchester City teammate Benjamin Mendy. Now that takes us to 2014, where during a game, Leicester City had sent one of their scouts to watch Le Havre, as the club was interested in signing the likes of Ryan Mendes, but they were so surprised by the likes of Riyad Mahrez that they decided to sign him instead on a 3.5-year deal contract. Mahrez had stated that he was very happy to be leaving League 2, as the league was way too defensively orientated, and he criticized the league for all the teams just wanting to play for goalless draws. And of course, moving from France to England to play in the Championship with Leicester City, Mahrez's friends and family were obviously very skeptical about the move, as they thought that English football would be too physical for Mahrez and that he should move to Spain instead. Plus, before the move, Mahrez thought that the only team in Leicester was the rugby team. I don't think that would have worked out. Signing for the Foxes on 11th of January 2014, Mahrez went on to make his first appearance as a 79th minute substitute 14 days later versus Middlesbrough, coming on for Lloyd Dyer. After only 4 substitution appearances from Mahrez and getting his first goal versus Nottingham Forest, an 82nd minute equaliser, the manager at the time, Nigel Pearson, then decided to add Mahrez to the first team on a more regular basis, which proved to be an excellent idea, as Leicester City went on to win the Championship and gain promotion to the Premier League for the first time in 10 years. Now, Leicester City's first season back in the Premier League in the 2014-2015 season didn't go as well as expected, as Leicester City found themselves in a serious relegation battle, but just escaped due to them winning 7 out of their last 9 games of the season. And in terms of Mahrez's season, got 4 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, scoring his first Premier League goal in a 2-2 draw versus Burnley. But staying in the Premier League wasn't Mahrez's only achievement of the season, because in 2014 Mahrez was also called up to join the Algerian provincial squad for the World Cup, and in June 2014 Mahrez was added to the full squad, but news sources at the time thought that the inclusion of Mahrez in the squad was due to him allegedly paying the manager. Now, unfortunately for Mhrez, the only game he played in the entire tournament was the opening game versus Belgium, before being dropped for the rest of the games, where Algeria went on to the final 16 of the competition, but no further. Mhrez's first international goal, though, came on October 2014 in the African Cup of Nations qualifiers in a 3-0 win versus Malawi, where he also got an assist for Islam Slimani, and in December 2014 it was announced that he had also made the squad for the final tournament in Equatorial New Guinea, where the team only made it to the quarter-final stages. And that takes us to the 2015-2016 season. The season where everyone learnt Riyad Mahrez's names, as he had just signed a new 4-year deal on August 2015 and scored 4 goals in his first 3 games of the season, including 2 in the opening game of the season in a 4-2 win versus Sunderland. It was also enough to earn him a Premier League Player of the Month nomination. By November, he had scored 7 goals in 10 Premier League games, and December 2015, he became the first Algerian to score a hat-trick in the Premier League in a 3-0 win versus Swansea. Mahrez's season had started so well that by the time the January transfer window rolled around, Mahrez's value had skyrocketed from £4.5 million to £30 million, putting him in the top 50 most valuable players in Europe. And just another interesting fact for you guys, Mahrez's popularity in his hometown had grown so much by that stage that in 2016, there were 3 times as many fans of Leicester City on Facebook from Algeria than there were from England. It is even said that his local barber shop from Sarcelles became a tourist destination for his fans, where fans would travel from as far as Belgium to get a haircut. And once the end of the season rolled around, Mhrez was not just part of the Leicester City team that avoided relegation, he was part of one of the most famous stories in English football history, winning the Premier League with Leicester City, becoming the first ever Algerian player to lift the cup, and was part of an incredible team with some key players such as Mark Albright and N'Golo Kante, Danny Drinkwater, Golden Boot winner Jamie Vardy, and Mhrez was one of 4 Leicester City players to be named in the PFA Team of the Year. Now, this fantastic season by Riyad Mahrez did not just earn him another 4-year contract extension at Leicester City in 2016, but it also got him nominated for the Ballon d'Or, where he ended up 7th, along with winning the BBC African Footballer of the Year award. Now, unfortunately, after such a monumental season in football history, the 2016-17 season was slightly more disappointing for Leicester City, as they ended the Premier League season 12th place on the table with an underwhelming performance from both Leicester City and Riyad Mahrez, but Mahrez still helped his team reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League with 4 goals and 2 assists in the competition. And in May 2017, Mahrez played his 100th Premier League game in a 3-0 win versus Watford. And now that Mahrez had become quite a popular name in the football world, he was getting a lot more international football. In the 2017 African Cup of Nations, Mahrez scored 2 goals and earned himself a Man of the Match award in Algeria's opening game of the tournament versus Zimbabwe. But unfortunately, as Algeria's chances of qualifying for the 2018 World Cup were already gone, Mahrez and teammate at the time, Islam Slimani, were dropped from the national team. Now, once the end of the 2016-17 Premier League season came to an end, Mahrez had stated that he wished to leave the club. This obviously caught the attention of Arsenal legend Arsene Wenger at the time. Mahrez was also given offers by Italian giants AS Roma, which Riyad Mahrez had rejected, unlike the likes of Jose Mourinho, which, if you guys haven't seen my thoughts on Jose Mourinho joining AS Roma, click on the eye thingy up above to catch that video. Now, on the last day of the transfer window in August 2017, Mahrez was excused from national team football so that he could complete a deal with one of the interesting clubs, which unfortunately nothing materialized. And just a few months later, in the next transfer window in January 2018, Mahrez once again asked to leave the club, with Manchester City being one of the most interesting teams, which unfortunately the transfer fell through at the time. And by this stage, Riyad Mahrez had stopped attending training with Leicester City, but he did state that his teammates at the time were very supportive of his move. And that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to July 2018, where Manchester City signed Riyad Mahrez on a 5-year deal for £60 million, making him the most expensive African player in the world. At the time, he made his debut in a 2-0 win over Chelsea in the Community Shield. Mahrez had already won his first piece of silverware with the club. And in September, he didn't just score his first, but also his second goal for the club as he netted a brace versus Cardiff City. And in October, he scored the only goal in a 1-0 win over Tottenham Hotspurs. He decided to dedicate his goal to the previous Leicester City owner, who had unfortunately just passed away in a helicopter crash. Now, by the end of the 2018-2019 season, Mhrez had a fantastic first season at Manchester City, not just winning the Community Shield, but also winning the EFL Cup, becoming the best player in the EFL Cup, along with his second Premier League. And despite only 14 league starts for Mhrez in his first season at the club, he decided that he will stay at Manchester City as he trusted his potential. And just 1 week after winning the Premier League, he became the first African player ever to win the English domestic treble as City beat Watford 6-0 in the FA Cup final. 4 trophies in your first season at Manchester City. That's not too bad. Now, although Mhrez had won 4 trophies in its first season with Manchester City, Mahrez's season got an extra boost as he was not just played, but he captained Algeria to win the 2019 African Cup of Nations for the first time in 30 years. The most memorable part of his campaign in the African Cup of Nations was a 95th minute winner versus Nigeria in the semi-final to put his team in the final. Now, unfortunately, Mhrez's second season at the club in the 2019-2020 season was not as successful, as he did miss the 2019 FA Cup over some concerns about the medicine given to him by the national team. But he did play in a 5-0 win versus West Ham on the opening game of the season, which he was involved in all 5 goals. What an incredible player. And ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to today, where Manchester City have already won the Carabao Cup this season. They are set to win another Premier League, and Mhrez has just scored 2 goals to put Manchester City into their first ever Champions League final. Mhrez is an incredible player overall, and if you guys have enjoyed this video about Riyad Mahrez's story, please do like this video down below. Can we please get this video to 15, maybe even 20 likes? And do subscribe if you are not subscribed, as I do these videos quite a lot, and if you want to see more like them, I have done videos like Suchek before. I have even done managers like Chris Wilder. So if you guys want to catch more content like that in the future, make sure that you are subscribed down below. But Riyad Mahrez, what a player. I want you guys to tell me in the comment section down below, what other players should I do, and do you think Mhrez will win the Champions League with Manchester City? He is a phenomenal player at 30 years old, still has many years left in him. What else can he achieve in his career? Guys, this has been Finn FYNN, and this has been the story of Riyad Mahrez.